you want to get a good balance between going with your team and then also lurking. So I'd say like a hard lurking maybe 2 or 3 times in the half. Hello, 我是 FunPlus Autumn. Today I'll be doing a ZOWIE esports class on how to play Viper on Bind. Okay, so we'll be starting on attack. 2 walls that I like to use, just the A side, would be this wall here, which they're both the wall to short, but this wall is a bit different because it gets U-Haul or Heiwu as well as CT. So if you can get the spike planted, you can use this wall for the post plant as well. So it's like kind of has more uses than the second one I'll be showing you. But the second wall is the same type of wall, but its use is a little bit different. It gives you a angle, like a different kind of angle, so you can kind of peek this angle without being exposed to these 2 angles, and you can kind of lurk into this corner and deactivate your wall, and maybe you can get a 1v1 on this angle. It's a bit different, but it doesn't get the U-Haul or CT. So depending on which wall you'd like to use, I think both is good. So either or, whichever preference you want. Pretty much what you want to use the wall for in this round is to maybe get a 1v1. Maybe you can call your teammates to go into U-Haul and just have kind of like the smoked off from sight, so it's kind of hard for the enemies to kill you. Maybe they can get a lucky spam kill, but the chances maybe you'll get like a 1v1 in the U-Haul. So it's pretty good to take an advantageous fight, not being exposed to too many angles. But also you can combine with this smoke here, I'll show you, and you line it up with this here and you just jump through. And this will land in U-Haul. And you can use both of these smokes, so you can activate both, and maybe you can just like peek, or like your team could be going B, or maybe you can use for your team. You can activate both and then you can wall down and your team can fight sight, or this is smoked off. This is very good for the whole team, but sometimes like you want to lurk as Viper, right? Viper is a great lurking agent, so you can call your team to maybe go B long or go towards B, and you can try after a certain while of time, or after holding for a bit, you can just maybe smoke up and try lurk a bit up A short and get into a good position. Maybe you can go here and you can hear the enemies maybe leaving the site, or you get some sound cues if your teammates do some things towards B, and after a while you can, you know, smoke up and try just have a 1v1, which is very good. If you can potentially win this 1v1, or you can even get into U-Haul without fighting someone, you can call your teammates to rotate back, and this is very good position. You can, or you're in U-Haul and your teammates come back A, you can kind of fight off your teammates and get a free kill on the enemies. So I think this is quite great. Or you can also use this kind of util for your team. Maybe you can call your team to rush A. You can activate your smoke and you can just go like late shower, or your teammate get on site. I probably should wait until your teammates get on the site before you peek here, because if you just peek, the people will just be holding you. Like usually they just sit here and hold. But if your teammates are on site, they start to get worried. And that's when the good timing comes in. Like they start worrying about the site guys coming in, and then you activate your lurk. And usually you will get free kills. They won't be expecting you too much, and that's quite great to do this some games. But you don't want to hard lurk every round. You want to try and get your you want to get a good balance between going with your team and then also lurking. So I'd say like a hard lurking maybe 2 or 3 times in the half, I think is good enough. I think that's, if you're just lurking every single round, I think the enemy team will start to expect you, and you might die like quite often doing that, so it's not too good. So you want to find a balance between hard lurking and playing with the team. what else can we talk about on attack? When you want to execute with your team and you use these two smokes, if you want to call like a fast A or something, you can just activate your smoke. And you can just molly the smoke while your teammates can run up short. And you can kind of just fight side. Usually you have another smoker with you, so you can get them to smoke like Heaven or triple and default, and you can just fight side. But I think usually you can molly the angles that like your team doesn't have to worry about. Especially if you molly your smoke, the enemy team can't really push through, which is great. You just activate your smoke and molly, the enemy team, if they push through, they'll just die instantly. So I think that's quite great you can do for your team when you execute A. For B, I think if your teammates are going B long, you can just do the same thing, activate your wall and smokes, and since your teammates are just going B, the enemies at A kind of get no info on short, unless they push the wall here, but usually they get no info, unless they push the wall. But if they get no info, they might have 3 towards A if your teammates don't make too much noise, and you can kind of go late. You can let your teammates go in first towards site, you can start peeking. This is a pretty good way to lurk in hookah, and maybe you can molly the CT when your teammates are taking site. So if anyone runs through the CT smoke, you can just like spam, and it's a really easy kill for that. If you're going towards B long, you can kind of do the same thing. You can go with your team even, and you can just molly off this, and that will get spawn of people running out. They just get hit by this, and it's a really easy kill for you if they get hit by your molly. And if you're smoked off, you can always just open your map and ping the corner and just like jump like this, and you'll get CT. Also, if you know the enemy team maybe is playing like Sky or something, or they like to flash through the elbow smoke, instead of mollying CT, you can ask for a smoke for your teammate elbow and molly the smoke, and you can kind of just stop this person from helping the player on site. If they're smoked off and mollied, usually they're not going to go through, and you kind of get a advantageous site on the fight guy, and maybe he's in like a 4v1 or something, because a lot of the time people will play like one site and one elbow, or one towards long and one towards site, and you can kind of stop them from playing together if you molly the elbow. Kind of it, but maybe we can talk a bit about the post plant. If you get the bomb planted on A, this wall is like really helpful, because for example, if you're fighting here, you can activate your wall. This is great. Or if you're maybe in a clutch, or your teammate can even ask for to activate your wall. You can say, "Oh, wall up for you, cross back A short," and then the enemies on site cannot see you, so you can wall down and you can kind of change your positioning, which is really good in clutches. Maybe you can, without teammates, just by yourself. Maybe you're in like a 1v2. You get a frag here, you can activate your wall, you can cross back, maybe let's say bombs planted here, you can come back, wall down, and maybe they're expecting you here, and you can just kind of get an element of surprise on the enemy. Maybe you win, that's quite great. For an ulti on A side, I think this is probably the best ultimate I know of, but if you get the spike planted here, you can activate your ulti like I just did, and you can have someone, or you can even play in U-Haul. It gets a little part of U-Haul, so you can play here, or you can get someone to play here, and kind of gets just the entrance to site. Like, it's quite great ulti. Gets a lot of the A site, and if you have the spike planted, it's quite easy to just play layers on layers. Someone can play here, maybe someone can play in here, someone can play U-Haul, and you can just molly if they tap the bomb. If they tap the spike, you can just molly the spike. I think for attack, that's about it I can think of. Thank you all for watching on how I play Viper on Bind. I hope this can help in all your future games, and everyone subscribe to the ZOWIE esports class.